she's definitely made me a better player. I'm the best Rose player. Nobody's playing Rose in Wellington, so yeah. Before this, I rely on the meta a lot, and you rely on decks that are quite strong. This deck is kind of all or nothing. When she works, it's beautiful and really, really fun. Hitting for sometimes 7 if I do a quick cheeky little surprise strike with her. My favourite combo, Razor Crest and R2, those two would never be cut from this deck. Rose has made me think about lines a lot more, and she's very, very fun when you pull off one of those fun little combos with your pilots and sneak attacks and things. She's a great time. Hey, I'm Hayden, Needle Throne NZ, as I'm known at my Star Wars moniker. I pulled Rose at the pre-release, and I thought there's something here with her. And then a lot of people, bagging on Rose as they do, Star Wars fans being Star Wars fans. So I thought, I'm gonna make it work. It's taken a long time, a lot of different iterations. Ended up falling on Rose Yellow. Cabo, who's another prominent Rose player, his list for, I think he came 5th at a PQ overseas. Been tweaking that for a while now, and it's where I've landed, and it's really fun. Yeah, first version was green, with Chewie, that Green Squadron A-Wing, a few ships like that, trying to make things work. Was fun, but very easily counterable. Then moving to yellow has been the best fix for her. She can still do her fun stuff with the ships and pilots, but then having a little bit of interaction with your opponent with waylays, bamboozles, those sorts of things gives her a little bit more of an edge. Makes her a bit quicker too when you've got surprise strikes and sneak attacks as well. Ideal opening hand would be definitely anytime I see the Razor Crest, the 4-drop yellow Razor Crest, and also the R2-D2 pilot. Those are my two that if I get those, they are a keep. Great combo, which I don't think is played too much. I've only really seen it played in a Rose Yellow deck, is the Razor Crest turn 3, and then putting R2 on. You can usually negate their whole turn if they've just played a 4-drop, so that's an awesome combination. So keeping that for sure. Usually 1 ship or 2 ships, 2-drop ships. The Fireball's always a nice first play, same with that X20, X34 land speeder. Either of those are good. Also my favourite card, which isn't in a lot of lists, the Royal Security Starfighter, the Naboo one, that little 2/2 with grit. I love having that in my starting hand. And Page, playing that Starfighter turn 1, Page turn 2, and hitting for 6 on turn 2 is real fun. Very easily counterable, but if you can pull it off, it's a good time. Resources, anything I can't really play. I don't have anything for smuggle or anything like that in this deck, so usually 1 2-drop ship, pilot usually. If I've got the Razor Crest and R2, they're a keep. Sometimes I'll try and, usually for turn 2, I'll keep, I've got a few 1-drops in there, that new Sky Hopper and also the Cartel Turncoats. They're quite nice curve. Also Jam Communications is my best friend, can usually get rid of all those annoying villainy cards like Power of the Dark Sides, Overwhelming Barrage, even a lot of the little red ping ones like Daring Raids, Open Fires, all of those that usually get rid of my ships too easily. So Jam Communications is a fun one to have in there. Good mid-game board state would be having my ship still on the board. That's always nice. I always get, those turn 2s where something gets removed and I'm sitting there with just a lone pilot in my hand always makes me sad. But yeah, having a good 1 or 2 ships with a pilot on at least one of them is really, really nice. And then sometimes if I'm controlling space really well, which only a few decks do nowadays, it's always a good time. Falcon, the Heroic Falcon's always nice, as well as if you've got a pilot on that and 1 other 2-drop ship, I'm in a good way. Common winning lines, if something stayed on the board for a while, it's always nice, especially if you've got Paige and she's stayed on for even a couple of turns. That experience she gets every time she attacks is crucial, and you can have quite a big boy in space or on ground. I've got a couple of ground vehicles that she can usually go on. Being able to heal that damage is always nice with Paige, so you can make something big and then keep it around. And then doing a few sneaky things. Sneak attack's been a good end game for me, especially now with Lightmaker coming in. You can hit for 7, which is usually a pretty good ender. End game for this deck, if I haven't won by turn 4 or 5, then I usually lose. Getting Rose out on 5 resources is always surprising for the opponent. I think they expect her to come out a turn later. So getting her out, she can heal 4 on that turn to any of my ships, which is always pretty crucial if I've still got a pilot and ship in space. So yeah, getting her out, hitting for sometimes 7 if I do a quick cheeky little surprise strike with her. Having a ship or 2 with a pilot on them is really good. Sneak attack is a good end game for me. Getting out Survivor's Gauntlet and shuffling a pilot around is always really fun. Or even now with the Lightmaker, that's an easy 7 usually, and it's a threat for people when it comes out because they don't like that tap down. So they're usually my end games, and yeah, if I get any further along in the game than that, it's usually a loss. There are so many cards that I fear. This deck is kind of all or nothing. When she works, it's beautiful and really, really fun, and a lot of times she doesn't work. I do joke that 60% of the time she works every time. Cards I fear, any upgrade removal is always horrible, or easy events that, get rid of my things. I won't be sad to see, Power of the Dark Side leaving and a lot of those open fires, daring raids, all of that sort of stuff. I'll be so glad to see it go. But yeah, she's very easily counterable, but very, very fun to pilot. 3 cards I wouldn't cut. I would always, sort of my favorite combo, Razor Crest and R2, those 2 would never be cut from this deck. They're pretty crucial and surprisingly strong. Getting rid of someone's turn 3 is really, really good. During the PQs, there was a Obi-Wan with General's Blade on it. Came out turn 2, so that was pretty tough to face down, but seeing in my hand, I was like, I've got Razor Crest and I've got R2. By turn 3, I can get rid of that threat. Came in clutch. The other card that I like to have in there, depending on matchups, is Bamboozle, which, any cunning player would know that, but getting rid of leader pilots is always really good, or tapping down a big Kylo or something, getting rid of those upgrades is always fun to do. So those 3 are probably the ones I wouldn't cut. Personally, for me, I wouldn't cut my fantastic combo of the Royal Security Fighter and Paige Tico. I love doing that turn 1 and 2. Very easily counterable, but it's so much fun when it works. My sideboard's probably got my weirdest additions to this deck. I've put a couple of Lurking TIE Phantoms in there, just to, if games are going a bit long, I can put that in and usually get a pilot on it, and hopefully it survives a little bit longer than most of the other ships in my deck. That's probably the biggest surprise. The other one was my favorite combo of the Starfighter and Paige. People usually like to put in those the Cunning Starfighters that got introduced in sets 5 and 6. They usually put them in rather than those 2/2s with Grit, but I find it's just too fun a combo to pull off with Paige that not many people see that. I do really like Survivor's Gauntlet. I'll be kind of sad to see it go. There's some really fun things you can do with it. As I said, putting out the sneak attack and swapping it onto something, swapping one of those pilots onto something else is really good. You can put something onto another ship you've got, swing with that, then swing with the Survivor's Gauntlet and put it back on that. If it's Paige as well, it's hitting for an extra 3 on both ships, which is awesome. Survivor's Gauntlet also, at the moment, I've discovered is really good for Entrenched. You can swing with Survivor's Gauntlet, targeting base, moving Entrenched onto it and hitting with it for 7, and then it frees up your other ship that's had Entrenched, usually on it since turn 2. So that's always a really fun card to have in there. I'll be sad to see it go. I think people should give Rose a go. She makes you think. She's definitely made me a better player. Before this, I rely on the meta a lot, and you rely on decks that are quite strong. Rose has made me think about lines a lot more, and she's very, very fun when you pull off one of those fun little combos with your pilots and sneak attacks and things. She's a great time. I think people should give her more of a chance. There's a few combos that even I don't use. The Silver Angel, the one that heals and then pings on each heal. I don't use that, but I know a few other Rose pilots do, so she's a good time. I'd like to give a couple of thanks. Cabo for the original list, the Nabat Rose list. I've tweaked it a hell of a lot since then, but that list was sort of the catalyst for where I'm at now. And also thank Fraser from Goblin, been helping me pilot and train for a long time. I think the PQ was sort of a combination of months of me getting used to the deck and little tweaks here and there, so it all finally paid off in the weekend, which was awesome.